For the next hour, the green and gold are in charge. Welcome to In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. In the Huddle is brought to you by Mole Lake Casino Lodge and Conference Center. Now, here's Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
Good evening from Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly. You are in the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network with Packers defensive lineman BJ Raji. I am Justin Hull. Bill Scott has the night off. And BJ, 13-0. Good place to be, huh?
Yes. I can't say I saw this coming at the beginning of the season, but now that it's here, I'm just happy to be a part of it, and I feel blessed. And hopefully we can keep this going.
After last week's game against the Giants, going down to the wire, was it nice to comfortably take one from Oakland 46-16 yesterday?
Oh, definitely. Anytime you can win in that fashion, I think, it builds confidence, particularly on our end. We've definitely tailored it off in the defensive category this year, but I think ultimately we're still getting the things we want to get accomplished with the takeaways and getting pressure on the quarterback, and then ultimately that helped us yesterday.
I know yesterday after the game you said the game was over when?
I don't know. What did I say?
I think you said the first quarter. I believe the soundbite that was on my computer today said BJ Raji game was over in the first quarter.
I have to see that in writing. Just the way the game went. DJ had the nice interception. Aaron drives the guys right down and score. We get another stop, and those guys go right down and score. And before you know it, it's 17-0, and it kind of changed the complexion of the game. And I think ultimately we kind of took those guys out of what they wanted to do, which was run the ball.
That was a team that entered yesterday tied for a division lead. I mean, that kind of hard to fathom. I mean, when you think about that, I mean, that's a potential playoff team, and as are you guys, and you paced them by 30 points.
Yeah, I think, what they wanted to do, they had some guys down, those speedy receivers were down. And I think when you have a lot of game plan, guys were kind of hurt, McFadden was hurt, I think they wanted to come out and run the ball some. I think we did a good job of shutting down the run, and I think ultimately we kind of took them out of what they wanted to do.
And it's just hard in the NFL. I mean, the mentality, when you get down by so much so early like Oakland was, if your game plan was to run the football, you got to pass to get back into the game. And as you mentioned, DJ Smith comes up with the interception. You guys pick off Carson Palmer 4 times. Eric Walden, the fumble recovery for a score. I mean, 5 turnovers. You just instated your will and sent them out packing.
Well, this is my 3rd year around here, and being in the dime system, I think that's the type of defense that we like to be associated with. And I think yesterday was a good showing, and I think, quite frankly, you have to give credit to the home crowd. I think that advantage definitely helps us get those guys behind us, and it's hard to beat us.
Did it feel like December at Lambeau Field? I mean, it's kind of a nice day yesterday. Sun was shining for the start, a little windy, but.
You know what? The wind and the temperature definitely was indicative that it's December. But I think ultimately, the weather is going to get worse as we go into these playoffs here. And ultimately, we have to get our minds right and go out and perform.
You welcome the weather getting worse?
I can't say I welcome the weather. I can't say that. But I would say that, we have the guys that stay on top of that, the equipment guys, and they have the right cleats and the right equipment and just the right things we need just to be comfortable out there.
I mentioned Walden's fumble return for a touchdown. Charlie Peppra, Charles Woodson, Tremont Williams, Clay Matthews, and Eric Walden, all with defensive touchdowns. Have you seen a defense? Have you been around a defense where you've seen so many different guys coming up with a big play as this team has throughout the year?
No, I haven't. It's a credit to those guys for the film study. I know how much work we put in through the week. A lot of that stuff goes unnoticed. And I think, when guys are focused and they're in a position to make plays and they convert, I think that helps the defense and kind of sparks.
I know as Jordy Nelson, our guest for tonight, makes his appearance here at Tanner's, and you hear the crowd in the background. But sticking with those the touchdowns, the defensive touchdowns. Tremont Williams at the end or after the game last night was asked, do you guys, razz or poke fun of anybody on that defense that hasn't scored a touchdown yet? It's almost like a rite of passage, it seems like, with this team.
I wouldn't take it to that extreme, but, I think that, especially the guys we have on the back end, when the ball touches those guys' hand, a lot of times they convert them into interceptions, and that's just a credit to their ball skills and their playmaking ability. I'm just happy to be a part of it.
All right, my favorite moment defensively yesterday, Sam Shields gets the interception. He takes one step, and he hits the ground. You think he learned his lesson last time around when he knocked out pretty good?
When he was coming off the field, he said he looked directly at Coach McCarthy, and Coach McCarthy was like this. And I don't know if you remember the NFC Championship game. He kind of picked that ball off and ran and kind of almost fumbled it. So I guess he immediately saw Coach and decided to go down.
Now, did he give himself up? Because when he slid to the ground, or I don't know how he kind of went to the ground, but he got to the ground, and then he got back up and he threw the ball up in the air. I was trying to figure out if he gave himself up, if that was something they could challenge, because he was never touched. He just went to the ground on his own, threw the ball in the air, and went on his merry way to a 46-16 win.
I don't know what to say to that. I mean, I'm going to go with my teammate. I'm going to say he was down, but I don't know exactly what happened. I think he was just so excited and thrilled to have an interception. He probably wasn't thinking.
How about the clipping penalty? The play that was reversed, where Rodgers threw the incomplete pass, and Oakland returned it. There was a clipping call. It was a personal foul. The play was overturned, but then they tacked on the yards for the clipping penalty. I know there was a lot of people scratching their head at that. Did you, or did you just take your yards?
That was something I didn't understand either. We were sitting on the sideline kind of joking, how do we get that close to the end zone? But, we'll take it. A lot of times officials are human. They make mistakes too. So I guess in that situation, just move on.
Well, December clinch month for you guys. Last week it was the division. This week it's a first-round bye with San Francisco losing yesterday. Another goal, the next goal on the list, home field advantage in the playoffs. Is that a little extra motivation heading into this week, knowing that, this is, when you write out the goal boards, the things before the Super Bowl is division, first-round bye, and then a home field advantage. Right.
Like you said, in that exact order, that's what our goals are, and I think just for us to be in a position to be able to obtain them, kind of in the midway point of December, I think is a credit to our focus, and I'm just excited to be a part, but also I don't think enough gets talked about the focus and of our team. A lot of teams have had the opportunity to go undefeated. Patriots did it, but I don't think that no one's ever done that coming off of a Super Bowl. So I think the focus and dedication of my teammates and the coaching staff should really be looked at.
I know that undefeated word. Are you getting sick of hearing about it yet?
No, you just, in this situation, I think you learn to embrace it. Because it's not like it's so far-fetched. That's people's job to bring that stuff up, and I think ultimately if you embrace it, you don't run from it, I think you have a better chance of succeeding.
And we'll get to more of the undefeated talk when we return. We are in the huddle from Tanner's Sports Grill in Kimberly. Coming up, we'll introduce our special guest with BJ Raji. I'm Justin Olin for Bill Scott here on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And we are back in Tanner's in Kimberly in the huddle on the Woodward Radio Network. In the huddle brought to you by Mole Lake Casino Lodge and Conference Center. Enjoy the excitement of Vegas close to home at Mole Lake Casino Lodge and Conference Center in beautiful Crandon, Wisconsin. More than just great games and casino action, Mole Lake offers first-class accommodations in their 75-room resort hotel, including family suites and whirlpool suites, along with a fitness center, swimming pool, and full-service conference center. With BJ Raji, I'm Justin Hull in for Bill Scott, and ready to welcome our guest to the show tonight, a friend of In the Huddle, as he hosted this a couple of years back in his fourth season out of Kansas State. Wide receiver number 87, ladies and gentlemen, Jordy Nelson.
How you doing?
Good, Jordy. Thanks for coming out.
No problem. It's good to be back.
It's been quite the year for you. We'll start with the season. Already career highs in receptions, 51, yards, 957s. Touchdowns, 10. How's it been contributing to this record-setting offense thus far?
It's been a lot of fun. It's great to be a part of it. Everyone's just out there trying to do their job. And obviously when we're clicking in a good rhythm with our offense, it's fun to be a part of it. And it's fun to play with these guys. And we're just enjoying every moment of it. Hopefully we can keep it going.
Go back to last year's Super Bowl. 9 catches, 140 yards, that touchdown, cover of Sports Illustrated. Was that the breakout party for Jordy?
I don't know. I don't really think about it that way. I think it was fun playing in the Super Bowl. Obviously, got a lot more action than probably what I was expected going into it. So, but again, it's all about just doing your job, helping this team win games. And then I just thank Aaron for allowing me to be on the Sports Illustrated with him.
Did you have to get permission, or was that just something that came with the territory?
I think it just came with it. I'm glad he celebrated with me.
No, that's something that you talk about catching touchdowns in Super Bowls. I mean, that's something every boy dreams about. I mean, that's got to be one of those when you look back at your life growing up playing football, just one of those memorable moments that's got to stand out to you.
Yeah, it's something that. I mean, when I caught it, I remember just got up and kind of stood there, really didn't know what to do. Wasn't going to do anything with the ball because I wanted to keep it. So, but it was just something kind of surreal. I don't think I really understand what the moment was or still is. So it's one of those things that when I'm done and be able to look back and, realize what happened.
Where's the ball today?
It's sitting in the house. Little man over here likes playing with it all the time. So
you got to let him do that, right?
Oh, yeah. He can play with it all he wants.
Well, big year for you, too, this year. The 3-year contract extension, keeping you with the Packers for 3 more years, as I'm sure the Packer fans appreciate. Seeing you stick in the fold for the next few years. As a football player, having that team come to you, offer that extension, and want to keep you around, take us through what that means.
It means a lot, obviously, especially with the team that drafted you. And having a family and a boy, you kind of get settled into a place. And to be able to get that extension, kind of have a little job security, that you know where you'll be at least next year. You don't have to worry about going through the free agency and maybe being in a different state and stuff like that. So we were happy to get it done out of the way, and just kind of know we're here for a few more years, and hopefully we can win a couple more championships.
You said after the fact that you like Green Bay, there was nowhere else you wanted to be. I mean, just kind of talk a little bit about that. And I mean, growing up in Kansas too, it's small town mentality. It just kind of seems like you fit in.
Yeah, this is a perfect fit. I mean, as weird as it may seem, Green Bay's by far the largest
BJ's laughing at
largest city we've ever lived in, by a long shot. So it's a perfect fit for us. There's everything we need, but not all the extra chaos going on. Allows you to focus on your job and playing football, and there's not a better organization to be playing for than the Packers.
BJ, what's it like seeing your teammates get rewarded for their contributions and get those contract extensions and know you're going to be playing with them for a few more years?
I'm very happy and proud for them. I know how hard Jordy works. He's very professional, and to see him have the production he's having and be rewarded with the contract, multi-year contract, I'm just really thrilled for him and his family.
And Jordy, remember those words when BJ gets re-signed in a few years, so you can share those right back.
Yeah, right? We know we want him back. I know he's got a couple more left.
Yeah, we'll see.
Let's not worry about that. Let's not worry about that.
But we gotta keep it all together because we enjoy playing with each other. It's a nice family. I think it's just the rarity that the chemistry and the bond that the whole team has in that locker room. There's no one that's separated out. So when you're able to keep all that together, it's fun.
We had Aaron on the show a few weeks back, and he kind of talked about, coming up out of high school, wasn't highly recruited. Draft day, we all know what he went through. You walked on at Kansas State. You kind of were a defensive player at first, worked your way onto the offense too. Do you use that? I mean, he talked about motivation, that being a big chip on his shoulder. Do you look at it that way at all? Do you kind of draw back at that as motivation?
I really don't. Me personally, if I'm worried about proving other people wrong, I think I got my mind in the wrong spot. I just try to work hard, do what the coaches ask me to do, no matter what it is. If it's going to K-State and they're wanting me to play defense and switching me to offense, and then even now, I've gotten a little bigger role on special teams, running down and kickoff and stuff like that. It's just whatever you can do and just take the coaching. I try to go out every day, do what the coaches ask me to do, and my theory is if I do what they ask me to do, they really can't get mad at you. I mean, if it works, it's good, and if it doesn't, well, they're coaching me the wrong thing.
So who was the one that made the decision to move you from defense to offense?
It was a collective effort at K-State. It was a debate when I first went there, whether to go offense or defense. And ironically, we're getting ready to play a kid that went to my high school. He plays with the Chiefs now, John McGraw, who walked on at K-State, actually started at receiver. They switched him to safety, ended up getting drafted in the second round, and has now been in the league for 10 years. So they thought, well, he's kind of same body type. I was going to do the same thing. So they just put me at safety Well, it's been backwards. I started at safety, went to receiver, and now I've been in the NFL. So it was just after 2 years, never got on the field. Coaches finally said, they traded me and another guy, so we switched and got it done. Both ended up starting and having good careers there.
So when you get that contract extension, do you give those decision makers maybe a little extra in the Christmas card for sending you down the right path?
It's been brought up a couple times. You know, if it wasn't for me, you'd be still playing safety. So, but it's good though. Everyone, you know, things happen for a reason.
Well, let's talk about some, I'll call it good news today. Greg Jennings left yesterday's game with a knee sprain. Mike McCarthy making the announcement today. He will miss some time, but 2 to 3 weeks. So not as bad as maybe assumed, but you still miss Greg for a while. Just, you had a chance to talk to him on the field there when he was sitting there and obviously, you know, getting ready to put him on the card. I mean, what do you say to one of your teammates, one of your, I mean, your guys, your wide receivers are so close when they're sitting in that situation?
It's tough. Obviously, you let them know thoughts and prayers are with them. Obviously, especially in that situation, because you don't know exactly what's wrong. You know, the doctors can do their tests real quick and get an idea, but until you really get that MRI and look at a scan of something, then before you really know what happened. So it's something that you just keep them in their prayers for the night and then wait for, like you said, somewhat of good news, better news, I guess. But I was in the situation he was a couple years ago. I did my knee, kind of the same thing, and so it's just nice that we kind of got everything sewn up what we need right now, and so he can take some time off and get healthy and refreshed and ready to make that playoff run.
So I got to ask both of you this. You have an injury like that to one of your key guys. Does that change the 16-0 mentality versus resting players versus going for being undefeated in your heads at all?
Just personally, I don't think it does. I think, you know, Greg is obviously, and whoever will be hurt will be, you know, will be a big part of this team. But I think ultimately, if someone gets hurt, then you naturally have to move on. And I think Greg would agree that he would want us to play for the 16-0. And I don't think you play the game of football scared. I don't think, you know, we didn't get to this point by playing scared. And I think if you have that mentality, you can't get beat.
A couple other injuries to note too. Brandon Sane and Ryan Pickett each left with concussions. They'll go through that concussion protocol much like Charles did the week before.
Right.
Have you had a chance to talk to either of them, maybe Pickett with you?
I talked to Ryan after the game. You know, I haven't seen him today, but he said, like you said, he had a concussion, and hopefully he'll be ready to go. But if not, hopefully he'll be better in the long run for it.
All right. Well, we'll continue with more of In the Huddle here from Tanner's with BJ Raji and Jordy Nelson. I'm Justin Hull. Back after this In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network.
Back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And back at Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly, In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network with defensive lineman with the green and gold BJ Raji. Our special guest tonight, wide receiver Jordy Nelson. I am Justin Hull. Coming up in a few moments, it's our email segment of the week. It's sponsored by Granite Peak Ski Area. Each week you can win a ski weekend for two if your email is selected as the email question of the week. You can go to inthehuddleshow.com and submit your questions there for BJ and Jordy. I want to change things up here in this segment a little bit, okay? You guys are on a record season. A lot of numbers being thrown around. I'm going to throw a number. I'm going to see if you guys know what I'm talking about, okay? 466.
Points scored in a season.
Which is a Packer record?
Yes.
3 games left, too. That's kind of an astonishing part about it is when we set a record like that for points scored, and not only do you do that, but you still have 3 games to add it, and I'm sure some more records you'd like to achieve. Quite the accomplishment there offensively.
Yeah, I think it's a team effort, obviously, because obviously Randall's put some points up on the board. Defense has put plenty of points up on the board with turnovers. Does that all count to it, or is it just offense? Okay, yeah. That's what I thought. So,
what defense, offense too? You got to point at BJ and say offense.
Yeah, awesome. Offense, yeah, that's right. yeah, see. But yeah, I mean, it's amazing what we've done. We just every game seems to have its own different way of that we win it. Offense, defense, special teams with the big play, whatever it is. So, obviously, whenever you're setting franchise records with the Packers, you're doing something good.
How about 17?
17.
17.
Regular season? No, that's
No.
not regular season.
Weeks of the regular season would be right.
I was thinking regular season.
Different players that have scored a touchdown for you
Oh,
guys.
wow.
17 different players have scored touchdowns.
Wow. That's
That says a lot right there. Your reaction tells us a lot.
that's the epitome of contribution. I think like 17. That's impressive. I think as just a credit to the style of diversity of the schemes on both sides of the ball, including special teams. I think the coaches deserve credit, but also think that players, Sundays is your time to shine and to make plays and kind of propel your team to win. And I think that ultimately, when you're able to do that and have an astonishing number like that, it's pretty impressive.
57 total touchdowns, too, as a team. I mean, that kind of goes along with that 466. You know who has crossed the end zone more than anybody else on your team this year?
Jordy?
Yeah.
Surprise,
He's
surprise.
had the most time in the
Surprise, surprise.
the end zone. How about the number 39? This one might be easy.
That'd be easy.
Yeah.
Jeez. You're throwing out random numbers. I don't know how any of this is easy.
Wait till in about 3 minutes.
39. Takeaways?
Aaron Rodgers' touchdown passes this season, tying a franchise record by the old guy back in 1996.
The other guy.
Wow.
39. Okay.
Was Aaron want to do that at home?
I don't think he really
Did he
cared.
know or doesn't care?
Oh, I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised if he did know, but it's not like he talked about it. I mean, I didn't know. I don't. We don't. I mean, a lot of times you do know because they get brought up to you, and especially some really random ones get brought up to you.
Sorry.
No, it wasn't even you. I mean, early in the year, someone brought up that I had the most touchdowns over 80 yards in a 8-game span. Like getting back to that, I'm like, what? Like, how do you even know that? Like, who is sitting in there, like, looking this up and keeping track of that? So that's when you find out about stats.
All right, this one has two meanings. The number 3.
Games left to 16-0.
Okay, that's okay. 3 meanings. 4,000-yard passing seasons by Aaron Rodgers. Now, last year he missed the New England game and I think missed it by like 50 or something like that, which I think he would have been the first quarterback ever to do that. And this one's kind of interesting. Actually, this would be 3. Number of coaches that got fired either the week before playing the Packers or after playing the Packers since 2010.
I thought about this today. I was like, how funny would it be if they waited till next week and we're like the coaches?
Wow.
Yeah.
That was, I know you guys probably got that brought up last year with Wade Phillips of Dallas and Leslie Frazier of Minnesota, but it's not really a record you relish being a part of, is it, getting guys fired?
No, even though there are competitors, there's obviously a sad day in their lives when they're released, especially the quality of coaches that you just mentioned. But ultimately, that is a pretty interesting stat that we're always the culprit.
Yeah, and I mentioned that 3, Todd Haley, head coach of the Chiefs, he got fired today. That's who you guys play this week.
Right.
Know anything about Todd Haley? Hear anything? Well, your former teammate played with him, right? Or was he?
Yeah, he's there now with him. I haven't talked to him about it. When I talk to him, I don't talk about his head coach. So
Okay.
we kind of not talk about football.
All right, 358.
358.
The last time we lost.
That is
Days,
correct.
yeah.
Days since New England last year in week number 15.
Wow.
Here's an interesting one. 1,102. 1102. I almost don't want to bring this up after, said who sits at their computer and figures these things
Must
out.
be you.
Number of items that comes up on eBay if you type the name Jordy Nelson.
See, that's what we're talking about.
Wow, is that a good thing?
337, by the way, BJ. He's got you almost tripled on that. You
know
ever
what?
go there?
I got a couple of years on him, so I've had it up.
You ever go there and look at what people are selling with your name on it?
I've been there before because people bring stuff up. You'll see something, especially back home. People will look things up and have something random, and it's always interesting if you can kind of remember signing that or tell if it's a fake signature or not.
A $600 football card was the most expensive thing I ever.
Don't ever pay that much for a signature. It's not worth it.
I think it was one of those where it's got like the piece of the football, the piece of the jersey, and the piece of the
stuff's
the
funny.
shoe that you wore for like 10 seconds.
You want to know the honest truth about those jersey cards?
I want to hear the honest truth about that.
Okay, so after I got drafted, you go out to LA for a rookie shoot. It's where they do all the card shoots and stuff. And those jersey cards, they put the world's largest jersey and give it to you. You put it on, you take it off. Then they cut it up into a bunch of little squares and say event worn.
Wow.
Not to kill all your guys' cards or anything, but it's not a game jersey. And it's not even your number. Like, it's a random number too, but all they want is the material.
So do you have to sit there then do they bring like a box of cards with the autographed ones? They bring like a box to you and you just sit there one day and sign those?
Yeah,
up?
or some of them will be stickers, like a clear sticker, and you'll just sign a bunch of stickers and they'll lay them on top.
Okay. 29,802. This one has to do with BJ. As of 11:15 this
the
morning.
people following you on Twitter.
Boom. 11:15 this morning. 29,802 people that follow at Raji Freezer 90 at Twitter. A little plug for you.
Is that the real one?
Wow,
Is that the real one?
Is that you?
that is me.
Okay,
You know?
just making sure.
Yeah, but Twitter is an interesting thing. You get some interesting comments, but overall, I think the communication with the fans is the best part of it.
0.
The number that followed me.
You are not on Twitter. That is right. 50. The number 50. This one, the estimated number of media members that left their seats to watch Denver's comeback while you guys were comfortably ahead in the fourth quarter yesterday.
Nice.
Wow.
I was leaving to go down to where we go before we head to the locker room for the interview stuff, and I had to fight through the crowd of people that were just ready for Tebow time, I guess. That one kind of shocked me there. Okay, on a scale of 1 to 10, 1 being winning a preseason game, 10 being winning the Super Bowl, where would you rate the following? Being drafted.
You go first, Jordy.
Oh, man. That's tough. I would have to say 9. But it's tough to not put it at 10 because if you don't, well, I guess you can
Comparing
still
it to winning the Super, that's what I. You know what? I'm going to let that fester because I got about 5 or 6 different things I want to ask you.
I'll go with 9. I'll go with 9.
I think it's different because that's more of an individual thing. I think the Super Bowl is a team. So I would definitely put the Super Bowl a little bit higher, but the draft day is probably around an 8 or 9 for me as well.
Okay, you know what? I got a few other one of those. I want to get to them because there's this couple that I'm pretty intrigued about here. And perfect, the music, as I have nothing left to talk about. And we can head to our email segment coming up next in the Huddle from Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly with Packers defensive lineman BJ Raji, wide receiver Jordy Nelson. I'm Justin Alt. More in the Huddle coming up here on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And we are back here at Tanner's in Kimberly in the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network with Packers defensive lineman BJ Raji, wide receiver Jordy Nelson. I'm Justin Hull, and we're going to get to our email segment of the show. Our email segment brought to you by Granite Peak Ski Area in Wausau. It's now open with regular hours for the ski season. Go to skigranitepeak.com for more information on lift tickets, ski rentals, and ski conditions. Granite Peak offers terrain for all levels of skiers with over 700 vertical feet and 74 runs. Get out and enjoy the winter at Granite Peak Ski Area in Wausau. Well, we kick it out to the audience, normally where I'm standing by, but Phil filling in for us tonight. And Phil, what do you got for us?
All right, thanks, Justin. Again, inthehuddleshow.com is where you can go to submit your questions. And Jordy, earlier today you were on Jim Rome and you were telling a story. And for those who haven't heard, what exactly were you telling him?
I don't know how you haven't heard if you haven't, but a couple summers ago, I invited the receivers down to Kansas to experience what I grew up doing. So Greg Jennings, James Jones, Brett Swain, and their wives made a trip down to Kansas for a weekend. And how it all started was my rookie year. They asked questions about what we do on the farm, and they got a little interested when I brought up the fact that we artificially inseminate cows. And yes.
Wow.
As much fun as that sounds like. So I was like, all right. So I explained it to them. They're real confused on what's going on. So I'm like, just come down sometime and I'll show you. So they came down and we had some cows that needed to be bred. So obviously we went over and they saw the process or whatever. But the deal was if they came to Kansas, they had to stick the arm up the cow's rear end because that's part of the process. So my question, and all three of them did it. We got pictures, got blackmail forever. My question is, when you coming to Kansas?
Oh, man.
The official invite has been thrown out there.
Oh, man.
Well, your arms might be too big. That would be nice.
That is true, and I guess I don't qualify. I'm not a receiver.
Hey, Aaron's on the next list, too. I got to get the quarterback down there.
You know, when Donald Driver goes, then I'll consider it.
All right.
Good luck
right.
following that one up, Phil.
I have no idea. We want to thank Chris from Kaukauna. He wanted to know if BJ would ever be able to go out to Kansas and try that. But our next question comes from Dale in Menasha. A few weeks ago, Randall Cobb got a chance to attempt a pass, and you played quarterback in high school. Jordy, have you been lobbying at all to get a chance to throw one at all? Do you want to?
I actually ran that play. Well, we've ran it for every year since I've been here in practice. We've never put it in a game. But until Randall got here, I was the one throwing it. And then when Randall got here, obviously he was the slash everything at Kentucky, so he got the job. So I'm happy with him doing it. I don't need that pressure. I don't need to make that mistake. So he made a good throw. He did pretty good.
So who ran the freezer package before BJ was there then?
There was no such thing. As far as I know. There's only one freezer.
All right, this one comes from Mary in Madison. With the team playing so well and you guys were locking up the first round bye, do you prefer that? Is that going to hurt the team at all, do you see in any way? I mean, slowing down the momentum, do you guys prefer to have that bye in the playoffs?
I'll enjoy it. It'll be nice to get rested. I think it'll be similar to it won't be quite like a normal bye week, but it'll be similar to after Thanksgiving game. Get a couple extra days, get refreshed, but I think it'll be a good thing for us.
Yeah, I agree with Jordy. You know, at that point when you're going through 16 games, and it's good to get a few days off and kind of transition, your mentality and all your focus into obviously a do-or-die situation type of game.
Can I agree with that too for a Sunday in the media where we don't have to work?
Yeah, there you go. I would yeah.
All right, our next question comes from Alan in Sturgeon Bay. Reggie White had the famous hump move. BJ, do you have a special move at all, a technique you like to use when you go up against offensive linemen?
No, I'm a big believer in, Reggie White had a great hump move, but pass protection is so complex nowadays, and I think the biggest thing for me is being able to read and react on the run, especially, a lot of guys would know with Clay being on the edge or something like that. A lot of times teams like to slide to Clay, and just being able to read on the run and react and just kind of get upfield and just kind of read the set I'm getting. I think that's more important than to have a traditional move, in my opinion.
All right, we'll go back to Madison. This one's from Jerry. Jordy, it seems like the Packers have kind of gone away from the slant a lot this year. Is there any noticeable? Why would that be?
I would agree with that. I don't know why it is. I think I could possibly say the defenses might be taking it away a little bit because we're so kind of slant-oriented in the past couple of years. We've been facing a lot of cover 2 this year with the way we're able to pass the ball, which puts hard corners, at 5 yards sitting there on the outside receivers where we run our slants. And it's a little more difficult to run slants into that. So I think that might be one reason why we've gone away from it.
I thought you were going to say because no one can cover you on a deep run.
It's easier to just catch it deep than to catch and run.
Time for one more, Phil.
All right, this one comes from Eric in Milwaukee. The public came out in support of you guys with the stock sales. 180,000 stocks were sold within 2 days. Were you guys surprised at all by that?
I wouldn't say surprised. Packer Nation, that's a pretty big nation, and I think that the Packer fans are spread out all through the country, and a lot of people, for them, that's important, and they want to be a part of something like this. So I'm not that surprised.
It's a lot of people, though. What was it, 1,600 in the first 11 minutes or something like that? Someone said they couldn't even use the phones in the building when they're trying to, like coaches were trying to use the phones because everything was bogged down. So, I mean, it's not surprising, but it is all at the same time. But I think it's great for, people to be able to be a part of the organization.
Real quickly, either of you buy any stock?
I did not. He's got one. Royal, my son, who's here, has one. My in-laws bought him one for Christmas.
All right, we'll be back to pick a winner in a moment. We're at Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly in the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network.
Now back back to In the Huddle with Bill Scott and Green Bay defensive lineman BJ Raji.
And back at Tanner Sports Grill in Kimberly, In the Huddle on the Woodward Radio Network with BJ Raji and Jordy Nelson. I'm Justin Hull in for Bill Scott, who took the night off. And we got to thank our man Lenny. Where's Lenny? Lenny? Wave? Lenny's talking. He's not paying attention. Lenny from L&S Classic Limousine Service. He will get all your limousine needs. Right, Lenny? All right. Lenny always asks, when am I going to talk about him? And I do, and he's not listening. So, anyway, back to Phil. We got to pick a winner for our email segment. Somebody's going to win a nice ski package from Granite Peak.
I think we're going to have to go with Chris from Kaukauna with the question about going to Kansas, taking some of the other receivers. Although it's a couple years old, it's still a great story to hear.
That story will never get old. Do you hear that when is that like Super Bowl and then, seeing the receivers put their cows in the, or their hands in the cows?
I would hope not.
Rear ends?
It is, especially if you do an interview with someone, that's not the local media. Like if you get up, they always bring it back up.
Like Jim Rome?
Yes.
Yeah,
Jim
okay.
I told him he can come out whenever he wants.
What was his response?
He said, I might have to do that. I'm like, yeah, okay.
All right, back to what we were talking about before. Just kind of curious to kind of weight some of these things. Scale of 1 to 10, 1 being winning that preseason game, number 4, 10 being winning the Super Bowl. We talked about being drafted. You guys pretty high up there. How about for you, Jordy, the contract extension?
Whew, man.
That's such a life changer, though. I mean,
it is. Man. Jeez, that's tough. I'll put it right there at 9 again. It's tough to beat that Super Bowl because so many people have won the Super Bowl compared to getting drafted and getting a second contract. So I think it goes right along with getting drafted. All
right, the next one. When it happens this year, being elected to the Pro Bowl. See, this
question was for you, right?
Huh?
This is for you, right?
See, this is where BJ's like, I'll stop out at Kansas on the way to. Well, actually, you guys aren't even going to go. You just want to be elected because the Pro Bowl's the week before the Super Bowl.
Man. If that would ever happen, I would have to put it a little bit below drafted and contract. Definitely below the Super Bowl. It would be like a 7. I mean, but as much of an individual thing that is, it's such a team thing as well because, especially in my position, I mean, you can't go throw the ball to yourself or anything like that. And obviously being on a team that's undefeated and defending champs helps out a lot.
How about you, BJ? Now, isn't that how the Raji started? I mean, kind of the hula dance. Wasn't that to give something to voters to put in their mind?
That was. But to answer your question, I would probably have it up there at a 7 or 8. And it's definitely a goal of, any player that wants to play, you want to be, recognized among the league's elite. But I think ultimately the Super Bowl is more important. And at that time in your life, I think getting drafted, that's kind of catapulting your career. So I think that has to go a step above too.
All right, being on the show tonight.
Ooh. Did we play in the fourth preseason game or not?
All right, the real one here. Going 16-0.
Man. I mean, if
I'm making you guys think.
If you said 19-0, then it's the ultimate prize.
Okay, yeah.
16-0 is like
right. Going 16-0 and not finishing the deal's real.
Comparing the two accomplishments, being a 16-0 team, which has only been done 3 times when you guys do it, and they're actually twice when New England, and then winning the Super Bowl. There's been 45, soon to be 46.
Yeah, that Super Bowl's way above 16-0 though.
Yeah.
Oh, it's not even close. Oh man. But it is history, and you have to go 16-0 in order to give you an opportunity to go 19-0. So it would definitely. I think that would be the lowest of all the other ones we've done, 6 or so.
Okay. I want to ask you about this. Aaron Rodgers photobombing the captain's photos. Are you guys aware of this?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's a website out there. I found it today. Somebody sent it to me. Like 25.
There you go again.
Yeah.
With just random information.
Word to us. Yeah, we're not sitting in meetings all day preparing for the Kansas City Chiefs. But anyway, Kansas City this week. I know we got a couple of minutes here. I guess opportunity to clinch that home field advantage. I mean, that's just like I told BJ when you write down those goals at the season. It was division, first round bye, and then home field advantage, and here you guys are.
I think, you know, in this business, I think, in the situation we're in, I think being tested, I think that's a good thing. And I think, you know, with the atmosphere that will be there, you know, one of the tougher places to play in this league. I think we'll be challenged once again on the road, you know, so definitely, you know, we won't have the luxury of having a home crowd behind us. So I think it's a good late season test for us. And it can kind of be, it's going to be like a playoff atmosphere, so I think that helps as well.
All right, Jordy, when people watch this replay on YouTube, they're going to see you laughing a little bit, looking over at the left. I know you brought a special guest. Do you want to? I know you mentioned him before, but
yeah, I got my son here, Royal, who will be 2 in February. He's very energetic. I don't know if you guys could hear him. He's yelling "Daddy" the whole time over here. But no, so he's great. He's a lot of fun, full of energy. It's fun. So. His birthday was February 3rd, which happened last year, the Thursday before the Super Bowl. So he had a party down in Dallas with everyone else.
That's outstanding. Well, maybe.
Hey, I hope we miss his birthday every year.
I'm sure he will agree with that one. Jordy, thank you so much for coming out. A lot of fun having you on the show again.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me down. It was fun to be back on it.
BJ, as always, best of luck to you guys. 14-0. Let's talk about that next week, all right?
Yes, sir. See you next week.
All right. Phil Rothman, questions, video. Reggie Razoo back at the studio, and our friends here at Tanner's for holding us up. Thanks, everybody, for coming out. You've been listening to In the Huddle here on the Woodward Radio Network.